Welcome to the latest episode of the Real World Nutrition Podcast. This is episode 188, Food Freedom, what Eat What You Want Day really means. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Real World Nutrition Podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Shelley Rael, a registered dietitian nutritionist. And today I want to talk about something that pops up every year. This year, May 11th, happens to be Eat What You Want Day. Eat What You Want Day. And while this might sound like just another made-up holiday, it does bring up an important topic that I want to talk about all year long. Because here's the thing. Why should we only allow ourselves to eat what we want, eat what we enjoy one day a year? Why do we need permission at all? Now, I know this holiday or this observance is for fun because, of course, lots of people eat what they want more than just one day a year. But I do want to address the implications of this this observance, and talk about what food freedom means and why it's not the same as a cheat day, how we can shift our mindset to enjoy food without guilt, shame, or justification. Part of why I came up with the name Real World Nutrition is that the idea is that we are navigating eating and living healthier in the real world. What that means is on a day-to-day basis, we're going to encounter things that involve food. As humans, we need food every single day, or we need nutrients every single day. And to have this idea of restriction or this mindset that we're cheating or that there's only certain times when we can eat what we want is something that I really want to help people navigate. That's not always what we should think. So this Eat What You Want Day may sound silly, but again, it opens the door to a bigger conversation on how we view food in the sense of how we have traditionally viewed food. And there's been a big push in the last several years, longer than that, health at every size and anti-diet. And with the last couple years, medications helping people facilitate weight loss more, it seems like this has really come back to the forefront, that this diet culture, as we call it, is back, if it ever went away. But food freedom really means giving yourself unconditional permission to eat without guilt, without judgment. But our culture moralizes food constantly, puts moral value on food and those who do or don't eat those different types of food. So, for example, you're good if you eat a salad. You're bad if you eat fries. I've even had someone say, I was doing so good and then I had peanut butter. Now, if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know peanut butter is a big part of my life. And peanut butter isn't a moral issue. It's food. And why should anybody think that's a problem? The real problem is the judgment, especially the kind we turn on ourselves. That internal voice saying, I was being good until I had that cookie or 3. And beating yourself up for having a burger on a random Wednesday because it wasn't a cheat day. This type of thinking creates a cycle of restriction, craving, overeating, guilt. Now, I want to clarify, food freedom doesn't mean chaos. It's not about eating 12 donuts just because you can. It's not eating the whole package of cookies just because you can. But finding that balance and understanding that all foods can fit, eating something you enjoy food that brings you joy isn't a failure. You didn't do anything wrong. It's part of a normal, healthy eating pattern. So, where does this food judgment come from? Well, we could go all different directions with this, and it's got lots of roots in various places. So, let's dig into this a bit. Where does this food judgment come from? I've seen people criticize others for drinking diet soda or enjoying a burger, like they've committed some kind of health crime. How dare you drink soda? Diet soda is worse than regular soda, is what people think. But here's the thing, truth is, unless someone has asked for your input, and more specifically asked for your professional input, their food choices aren't your business. So what I mean is people make comments all the time, and they're not nutrition professionals. I don't know what their profession is. I just happen to know in most cases they're not nutrition professionals. But even as a nutrition professional, I'm not criticizing others for what they're eating. I don't judge what other people's eating when I'm at the grocery store at a restaurant. I jokingly say, but in truth, I don't talk about your food choices unless you're paying me to discuss them with you. But here's the thing, that judgment is usually an inward thing, judgment about ourselves, and we project that on others. So I was doing so well, and then I had a cookie. So what? One cookie doesn't erase any progress towards your health goals. It doesn't do anything other than being a cookie. It's just a cookie. So the real, quote, damage here isn't the food, it's the shame spiral that follows. So this spiral of, oh, I shouldn't eat this cookie. Oh, I ate the cookie. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I had the cookie. I'm such a bad person. And it may not be that dramatic for you, but you probably get the idea here. And when we believe that eating a particular food means we've failed, we set ourselves up in a lot of cases for emotional eating, potential overeating, and disconnection from our body's actual needs. Now, granted, we may not need the cookie, but what is wrong with enjoying the cookie? And let me talk about how misinformation fuels this. It gets so much worse when this misinformation spreads unchecked. Recently, I saw someone posted on one of the social media channels, the claim that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. And put in all capital letters, put the cookie down. That's why I'm stuck on the cookie analogy in this episode. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. No, it is not. If you've ever worked with someone recovering from an actual addiction, you know how inappropriate this is, and frankly, how ignorant that comparison is. And that sugar, people do like sugar. They have cravings for it, but we don't have individuals in detox and rehab facilities who have done things that have disrupted their lives because of sugar. But this kind of messaging is everywhere. Influencers and self-proclaimed wellness gurus toss out food fear like candy. It creates anxiety, it creates confusion, it creates unrealistic standards. And I do say self-proclaimed wellness gurus, influencers, when I look at the information, their bio or what they're selling in a lot of cases, it's something that can fix this so-called problem. So they're perpetuating, or there's this perpetuating of more shame so that they can sell you what they're trying to fix. But here's the thing. Because of some of these things, people start to believe they have to be perfect to be healthy. And when they mess up it's like everything is ruined. And that mindset doesn't support long-term health. It just feeds that cycle of restriction and guilt. And while this may not be really profound in your life, it may not be in the forefront, you might think of times where you have had some criticism of yourself or others, even just internally of, wow, I can't believe they're eating that, or I shouldn't be eating this. Even those little comments like that are part of this issue. But I also want to talk about the danger of these one-day passes, these so-called cheat days or cheat meals. So this idea of cheat days, or as I brought up, the eat what you want day. The problem, in my view, with these passes is that this is an implication that every other day should be the opposite. Strict, controlled. You have to have this very precise regimen of what you're eating. Otherwise, what's wrong with that? Some don't even have cheat days. I've seen some where you have to follow a very strict regimen for a couple of months. And if you miss one day, you have to start from the beginning. Now, this may work for some people, but at the same time, what is wrong with this? In the sense of who cares about what that food might be, and why do we have to have these so-called cheat days? Because I do get asked a lot about it, or more particularly, people assume that I encourage cheat days because of my profession. But here's my take. Truly, for years, if you feel the need to cheat, then your plan is probably too rigid. I coined the term eating is not cheating years ago. Eating is not cheating. You should not feel you are cheating on anything just because you ate something. And when people follow ultra restrictive plans, it's not uncommon that they swing to the other extreme, binging, feeling out of control, then promising to get back on track. Now, it doesn't always have to be an extreme, but the ultra restrictive leads to wanting to have those foods that are on the restricted list more. And again, the cycle of emotions that come with that. So I promote balanced eating. If you've listened to any of these episodes in the past 100 and some, almost 200 episodes, I promote the balanced eating, where most of your meals, most of the food should support your energy, your health, your goals. And some meals, they're just for fun, comfort, celebration, and that's okay. Some meals, some foods for fun, celebration, and that's okay. Nothing's going to happen. If you want a burger and fries on a Wednesday, enjoy it. If a cupcake at work looks good, eat the cupcake. No guilt, no inner negotiation, no, I'm going to the gym later, so I deserve this, or I can burn it off. Just eat it. When we remove these restrictions, mental or physical, food stops being a source of anxiety. And it's just food. So food freedom, as I want to reiterate, it's not chaos. It's not eating cupcakes 24/7 or not having one every single day. It's not an environment in which all bets are off. It's trusting yourself to eat a variety of foods, including cupcakes. It's about tuning in to what your body needs most of the time, while also honoring cravings, social moments, personal preferences. So you may get from my talking cupcakes and cookies, my personal preferences tend to lean toward the sweet side of things. And I am not addicted to sugar. I can take it or leave it, and addiction to sugar is not a real thing. So again, here's what food freedom looks like. Letting go of the food police that's in your head. That's not me. I'm not looking at your food and judging you at all. So if you think I am, that's on you. Let go of the food police. Eat what your body needs most of the time. Recognize emotional triggers without shame. Yeah, I'm feeling tired or bored or whatever it is. It's okay if you want to eat. We tap into some of the other things related to that. But if it turns out you have something to eat along with those, what's the shame in that? Choose foods that nourish you and satisfy. And understand that one meal, one food, one day doesn't define your health or your self-worth. Making choices based on want, not guilt or external rules. So you can order a salad because it sounds good, not because you should. You can enjoy dessert without negotiating how you'll burn it off. Sometimes we go to the movies where we can also order food at the seats. Sometimes I order a burger. Sometimes I order a quesadilla. More recently, I got a salad and a wrap because that's what I was in the mood for. Nothing other than that. Now, I acknowledge this isn't always easy, especially if you've spent years hearing other food noise. And there's this idea of guilt. It's not going to switch off one day, but it is possible. So start with removing the moral labels around food. Food isn't good. Food isn't bad. And eating should not be a source of shame. So what if you did eat what you wanted today? And then what if you kept doing that? You don't need a holiday to give yourself permission. You don't need to wait until the weekend. You don't need to earn your food. Now, this is not a place to disregard your health, but a place of respect for your body, your needs, and even your cravings. And I want to clarify this. It's been a while since I've said this. Eat what you want, and it's not necessarily eat as much as you want. So by saying, yes, you can eat what you want, you can have the cupcake, it's not saying, go ahead and have 12. It's giving yourself permission to have the one, maybe the two, because you're still going to be able to enjoy one another day, and you don't have to wait a week or another cheat day for it. And if you're tired of the judgment, tired of the rules, tired of the myths, I'm certainly tired of the myths, and ready for something better, I'm here for that. First up, check out my most recent blog post, Stop Judging Food Choices. This is linked in the show notes. And if you want to talk more about moving forward with confidence and clarity, let's talk. As always with every episode, the link to the free 30-minute introductory call is always linked in the show notes where you can schedule that and we can talk. All right, everyone, regardless of whether you're listening to this when it drops months down the road, on the Monday following the weekend, consider what you've heard here and pay attention to what you might be saying to yourself during the week when you make food choices. All right, everyone, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for listening. I'll be back with another episode next Friday. So you all take care and bye for now.